Good afternoon, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to the Highway of the Zemus Zone 4 round of 64. We have a Game 3 match today between Bakashinobi and Slippery. We have Escorian doing our restream, Warlink pushing the buttons, and I'm joined by Gambit017. Gambit, how are we doing today?
I am doing good and looking forward to this matchup. Both Baka and Slippery are very well-known names in the community. Both have made it to bracket stages of tournaments before. It's going to be very interesting to see how this Game 3 shakes out. One of these people are going to move on to the next stage. The other one's going home.
Yeah, for sure. As we get to the end of our first week of the round of 64, there's been quite a few Game 3 matches kind of scheduled for us, and that's exciting because we get to see more Free Enterprise. I'm looking at the objectives that we have today. You know, we have the normal ones of defeat Wyvern, complete Cave Bahamut, and then have Kokol forge something for us out of the Legend Sword and the Adamant. But we have the Treasury and we have Octomem. An interesting mix here. You know, one boss hunt, one quest is always kind of makes for possibly a faster time.
It could be a little bit of a jet. As Baka is showing us, we do have that good old Dark Knight Cecil start, so hope you're familiar with your visibility and agility because you're going to need it today. And then I'm just hoping for something rude for the runners. I'm hoping for something like an Alt Gauntlet, Ogopogo, holding like a pan that leads to the Earth Crystal and is up as Zot too. You know, something that makes it hard required.
Yeah, that would be certainly fun for our runners, and maybe some zonks in the Toria Treasury, a whole bunch of edge equipment with no edge. You know, let's see how difficult we can make this today. But I'm excited to see who our other starting character is, and who we get an item from, because that'll help us figure out where we need to go first. So with a Cecil start, I would expect them to do some looting, maybe a little bit more looting than you normally would.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see our runners go straight to Castle Eblan, take the save, and go try to loot around the trap chest in there. Maybe even a Watery Pass dive, depending on who that second character is. If you get a teller with that exit, Watery Pass is not a bad option, especially with the low attack power. Again, Dark Knight Cecil, not the best of attackers. Tele with them, yeah, you're going to want some J items at some point through those chests.
Yeah, or you may immediately head to some of the early character checks that you can do and see who else you may be able to gain. Every once in a while, Mount Hobbs is relatively free, and you can just figure out who's there, and they can carry you through the sea. To Sid there is pretty good, or, an edge that we're always looking for here.
I'm hoping for Edward and Baron in, Edward at Hobbs, and Edward in the hook route. All Edwards all the time.
3-person hook route would be very interesting. It looks like we've got a twin. I am not up on my twin lore, but
that's gonna be the Quack Kid.
Quack Kid, and we've got a Cat Claw. So yeah, probably gonna go do a little bit of looting before we try anything here.
Yeah, Cat Claw would be nice if we find a Yang. With that starting Cat Claw, I'd be more incentivized to want to have a Yang early. Otherwise, again, his early game damage still lacks a little bit. Cat Claw giving him that plus 10 strength, which is what Yang needs, would make him a little bit more viable for the early game. Once he gets a couple of levels on it, it would be very, very nice. Quack Kid early also, if we can take some early fights, get up to Quake, that'll make the overworld a lot easier.
Yeah, and I would expect, with the Quack Kid and some experience hungry start here, we may, we're probably less incentivized to fade Antlion too. With that key item check, you get some early experience, and if you can get some spells, it works out pretty well. But Baka going to the pass here to see what we can pick up, and Slippery heads right into Baron Inn and finds our first Edward. I think somebody already called this.
One Edward down, 2 to go. Let's do this.
3-character hook. We're on our way here. But yeah, we declined to fight whatever it is for an Edward. I didn't actually notice as we go through and loot our normal locations here. Ooh, that dancing dagger isn't too bad with that Edward, honestly.
It was an Evil Wall in the first spot of Baron Inn, which is probably the one place you really want to see Evil Wall. 400 hit points, no real worry about its attack power. It should be no problem to take out. Very happy to see that early.
Yep, absolutely. And, you know, runners, as we predicted, kind of going, there's a Dwarf Sword. That's pretty good once we get Cecil past Mount Ordeals, you know, allows us to back row glitch our Cecil.
Baka selling the Ashura summon he found in the Watery Pass to pay for that Dwarf Axe. That's a Tella in the bed. So Sand Ruby gives you Tella, which gives you access to possible grinds up on the Giant and the Moon, preferably. Cure 3's other 2s in the Kaipo shop. That's a shop we'll probably come back to a little later.
Yep, those either 2s will enable many of our grinds here, especially with the old man sleeping in the bed there. And the Cure 3s are great items. It makes almost anybody a white mage, you know, through pretty much the entire seed. They're a little expensive, but not too bad here. But we'll see if our characters are liking the equipment they found or if we're going to continue to loot here. It looks like Baka's going to go get his hovercraft and loot a little bit up there.
Probably going to take on this Damskin Treasury, see what's down here, raise the hovercraft, and then probably head over towards Hobbs. Slippery, in the meanwhile, is going to actually go into the back of Watery Pass, check these 4 chests. I don't think Baka did this. Finds a black sword. That's actually going to help Cecil's DPS, at least until we get a loose Paladin. Opens up the possibility of, if we want to fight some overworld mobs to try to get that Quack Kid online, that black sword can proc the instant death status pretty quickly.
Yeah, and there's a few bosses we can find too where that swoon proc would help us out quite a bit. And it looks like, you know, heading up here, Spoony Dark Knight here, releasing the hovercraft.
Slippery, in the meantime, moving to the back of the Damskin Treasury as well. Going to loot up here, probably follow in Baka's footsteps. Baka is heading straight to Antlion, though. Probably going to dive in immediately.
Yep, looks like it. I wouldn't be surprised to see Baka fully loot the Antlion Cave, too. On the T-Pro flag set that we have for our flags here, you know, the treasure in the required spots like Antlion isn't as good, but you can still pick up some pretty nice stuff, and you know, stuff still sells for money no matter, you know, no matter what you pick up, so it can turn into useful gear as we go.
Blue Cat Lotion chat pointing out that Headband Samurai Bow Palom is a good DPS option. That's exactly what Bakashinobi did. Found those charm arrows, equip Palom, put them in the center. That way he gets a little bit of an accuracy boost, and that's going to be our DPS for this first boss spot.
Yep, and the Black Sword will do a little bit of damage here. I would expect them to do, you know, Dark Knight Cecil to probably keep up a little bit. And look, some Red Imps, or Dark Imps that we can definitely possibly swoon here too. We'll see.
Yeah, this is one of the best bosses to see with that Black Sword, because Cecil can get the swoon procs. Baka did, unfortunately, put his party in the back row, so Cecil, being a Dark Knight, can't back row glitch a Dark Knight, unfortunately, unless you do some very cheeky shenanigans with an edge. So not really going to be able to hit very well, so more going to focus on this Palom, just taking these shots to the Samurai Bow to get through this.
Yeah, but this doesn't appear to be posing Baka any problem here, and we'll kind of be through our first key item check to see where we might be going next.
Palom gets to charm on that last imp, so just Baka's going to do some menuing here, let the imp take itself out. Or not.
Or the imp just isn't powerful enough.
Meanwhile, that was a cane that Slippery found up on Hobbs. I did not see the boss. I was focusing more on Baka's screen.
Oh, it looked like we had our karate friend, which apparently didn't pose Slippery any problems. Can be free with a Paladin Cecil, but, you know, up on Hobbs probably just not that big a deal anyway.
Yep. In the meantime, Baka got a Luca key from the bottom of Antlion Cave. Not really what you want to see. That's a long check, and we don't even have access to it yet. So put that in our back pocket. We'll wait till we get underground access to see about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Kane is pretty good. This party's shaping up pretty well. We're probably, you know, jonesing for a white mage, and we may wake up that Tella, and that's a pretty good party. So I like the options that they're encountering here for the seed. Sparkle on the waterfall is our
boy.
Wyvern.
That's a great find by Baka. That's not something we can take out at this current moment. Matter of fact, we're going to want to wait quite a bit before we try to take that on. But knowing where that is, that knowledge is huge.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if Slippery continues to fade it, and you can go into some pretty deep water or rabbit holes trying to find those boss hunts that you're looking for there.
In the meantime, welcome on in to those watching the Bad Karma Stone Dingling race on Randomania 2. You're joining us just 7 minutes in. Please do not spoil the outcome of that race, as there might be people in the chat who have not seen it and want to go back.
Yep, thank you for having your race courtesy. And we have a question in chat. Did we see which burn? No. We reset. We had 3 frames of Wyvern, I believe, so we're not really sure what Wyvern's going to do to us. But that does bring up in this flag set to make it a little bit nicer. We do have the Witchburn flag on. Normally, Wyvern would do a Mega Nuke on their first action, but instead it can pick from almost anything in the game to instead inflict upon our party. You can do anything from a beneficial Berserk to Muddle is one of my personal favorites.
I personally like when he decides he wants to retreat. It's just hilarious to me.
I've never actually seen Retreat. That does sound quite amusing.
But yeah, to catch everybody up who's just joining us, Cecil was our hero. He started with a Palom. Kane was up on Hobbs. We start with a Cat Claw as our starting item. Baka has completed Antline, which Slippery is currently doing now. That's going to net a Luca key. And that pretty much gets you caught up. Tella in the bed, Ether 2s, and Cure 3s in Kaipo. So Kaipo shop is very important. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yep, we did some Kaipo and some Watery Pass and some Baron Peak. Baron is Eddie, we know, but nobody's went to Eblan yet. Nobody did sort of the big cave. This is going to be our first peek at the Fabul fight, however.
Baka landing outside Fabul is going to go in due to defense after doing a little bit of equipping on his characters. Did pick up a Ashura summon in the Watery Pass, sold it to pick up the Dwarf Axe that Kane is now rocking. That way, being able to back row is important, especially for Kane, because that's the only piece of equipment that can back row Kane. Again, provided no cheeky edge shenanigans.
And in spite of its animation time, it's not that bad a weapon to leave on in the early game. It's certainly not something you want to take all the way to the moon or Z, but not the most embarrassing thing to be rocking for a little bit here. Probably money well spent.
Yeah, if you're fighting Z with the Dwarf Axe, someone needs to ask you if you're doing okay and what can we do to help.
I mean, it's possible. Rando's gonna rando sometimes, right? So, checking the shops in Fabul Bakashinobi is, and I didn't see anything that was notable, and I don't think Baka did either. Not a huge pause there, but we'll get a look and see what our defense is today.
Here it comes. It is going to be the Dark Elf.
Yeah, this isn't too bad. We should be able to get this pretty good. Putting that dwarf axe on, and we'll go to town on our Dark Elf friend here.
Yeah, the only thing that's going to worry anyone in this first stage of the Dark Elf is the weak spell. Once we get into the second stage, which there we go, me change, pretty much free. All he's going to do is basically just attack and then take off 10% of your health and attack, and you're fine.
Yeah, not really a worry for either of our runners at this point. We have some burly gentlemen here to help us, and just charging up that Quack Kid too. Shouldn't be too much longer till we're got some good spells and can really kind of take things out here.
Yep, Baka gets through to Dark Elf as Slippery is starting his fight. See here just in a second what a former knight left behind at the Kingdom of Fabul for us. It is a Dragon Helm. Well, nice for Kane right now.
Yeah, I mean, equipment is equipment, and with our fighters, they do have a tendency to scale more with equipment than spells, and so that's gonna help us out here in finding a Dancing Dagger in Fabul as well. Dancing Daggers are great early game weapons for a lot of people we may find, including that Edward that's in Baron, but we'll see. Just kind of running out of stuff. We have Ordeals and we have Baron in here kind of left for our runners at this moment. So looks like we're going to do a little bit more shopping, but possibility space is kind of narrowing here as we continue on in this seed.
At this point, Ordeals and Baron are the only two things left. We've seen that evil wall in the first spot for Baron in, which, as I said, great place to see him. You love seeing him there. That's that second spot that's scary, especially with this team. This, while it's a decent team, is not a team that you really want to take on Baron 2 with yet. You want to get some more levels. You would like to get that Cecil into a Paladin. But finding Charm Arrows here in the Silvera's shop, that's huge. Got that Samurai Bow on that Palom. That's going to be a nice pickup.
And finding our Kier 2s as well. Kier 2... it's a great pickup. We don't start with a lot of those sort of utility curing items. We do have a few life potions to help us out at the beginning, but it's always great to find a source of Cure 2 life, Cure 3, things like that. So, not too bad for us today. And Baka's going to go to Ordeals, it looks like. And I was going to mention this too. This seems like a pretty good play to me. You can upgrade your Cecil. You know you have that... you know how you have that Tella in the bed, so you're going to need to do this eventually, and you're kind of optimizing your experience route on Cecil at that point, because all the experience we gain as a Dark Knight is basically lost once we get through the chamber up here.
Baka, annoying most of the chest, picks up that one, to Fire Claw. Could have gone without that. And our first spot on Ordeals today is Leviathan.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly worse things you could find here. This isn't great, but it's probably not going to pose our runners a whole lot of issue at this moment. At least I don't think.
Yeah, picking up those Cure 2s is going to make this a lot nicer, because again, those waves are going to take off a quarter of your hit points every time. Plus, the Ice 2s are not going to be too bad here, but they're still not going to be fun. But there we go, using Lit 2, that's going to get the weakness on Leviathan. Pain throwing the Dancing Dagger. Should be able to get through this with no more than one or two of those waves coming out.
And Cecil is almost helping with his 72 damage. But yeah, a little bit scary here, but we'll see how we go. Oof, that's a pretty good Ice 2 that we've got going on. So do get through it though. Gain some more of our levels here, and we're almost in sync here. Slippery just, about a minute behind Baka, I believe.
Well, the problem with this is going to be Slippery did not go by Silvera. It does not have the Cure 2s that Baka has, and that might come into play here with, again, Leviathan taking off a quarter of your health every time. You want to have a way to get that health back if you can, and Cure 2s are an easy way to do that.
Yeah, it does look like Slippery, I don't know if Baka didn't find the Black Sword. Uh-oh. We have our, we have Ha 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 on the second part here of Mount Ordeals, which is not my favorite place to find our friend Golbez.
No, it's not. And our restreamer Ascarian reminding me, correcting me, I should say, that Slippery did go and Silvera did find those Cure 2s, so I do stand corrected. Shouting out to our restreamer Ascarian, our tracker Warlink, keeping us honest behind the scenes. Without them, we would be staring at a blank screen going, what's going on?
Absolutely. Gambit, you and I get to talk and sound really smart most of the time. At least I used to sound smart most of the time. But, they're the real heroes here, keeping us honest, making all the data available to you.
Both runners probably going to be very, very happy they took that safety save. I saw Slippery take it after the Leviathan fight as well. So Baka, best target to go down with that Cecil in that case. Do we have any Veils? Yeah, we do. We do have 6 of them. There they are. See on Baka's screen. Now Baka just has to win the 50-50 here. And does. Kano get that Veil up, and this fight is now free.
Yep. For those of you who are newer to watching our free Enterprise, Golbez will simply cast a bunch of level 3 spells in Virus, or level 2 spells, level 3 spells in Virus. A Star Veil casts Wall, which will reflect those spells onto Golbez. You do have to do some damage to Golbez to make his script turn over, though, because the reflected spells will never trigger a condition in the boss, and so you could sit there forever with him reflecting spells, but Baka gets through this, doesn't really seem to sweat it. 1 Star Veil down is definitely worth getting through up here.
Yes, and one thing that will be interesting to see the runners see is if this ends up being a hook here, then we know for a fact that there's either a Demus hiding or the Magma key is at Baron Inn. Because remember, Golbez cannot block the attended underground access on the overworld.
Yep, and we're going to get a look here to see who's in the chamber. You know, it'd be an interesting sort of vanilla Dark Knight here, but there's a lot of enemies, especially for Baka. I don't think has equipped that black sword. That might pose a problem.
Hey, there's a hook, so we know for a fact there's either a Demus at the Mist Cave or at Second Child and Baron or at Magus Sisters, so it's going to have a Magma Key, or Magma Key is in that Baron Inn.
Yeah, and that's double, triple, you know, out of bounds too, because not only can Golbez not gate your only underground access, neither can Valvala. So, and I suspect that both of our runners know that, you know, like you said, Baka and Slippery are both pillars of the community. I've been racing for a very long time, so probably not gonna go try and find that Magma key.
Thankfully, Valvalis does not get very much physical defense here, so even in her tornado form, that Samurai Bow and Charm Arrows are able to get through, and slow enough here where after the weak spell you can still get the Cure 2 off. Big thing's going to be you need to get that 1,000 damage out before she stones you to death.
Yep, absolutely, and I think we're well on our way here. I don't really think this is going to pose a problem, but we are getting kind of down there on Baka's side, trying to, you know, get through Val, and there we go. Got through it. I'd be interested to see what Baka does next, though. You know, with that knowledge, do you go hunt that Magma Key? Do you do the Baron Inn, knowing that you're going to get Edward, who's, you know, fine but not great, and you know, one of the fights that he trivializes Evil Wall is something that you have to go through to get him, so his utility goes down a little bit further even.
So, in the runner's place here, my personal rally would be take the hovercraft, go down the hook route, see what's in the shop there in Eblan Cave, see who the boss is at the Rubicante spot, see who the character is. If it's a usable character, such as a Tella, such as a Edge, take the character, then go back to Baron Inn. But I definitely check Eblan first before making that Baron Inn look.
Yeah, that's definitely a good call. The shops down in Eblan count as gated because they are gated behind the hook, and so tend to have a little bit better quality items. So you can definitely find some pretty good equipment down there, and another character peek is always good before you try and get through that hook route. Hook route can be somewhat hard. Couple bosses, lots of hit points. Some bosses are really rude down there.
Yeah, it feels like Baka is doing exactly that. It's going to go grab the hovercraft, head into Eblan Cave, going to loot on the way down. I definitely agree with this. Finds a monster test early too. That is actually great for him. Even if he can't defeat it, at least you know where it is, so you can free loot the rest of the way down.
Yeah, and we're gonna try these Stalemen here. They are weak to stone, I believe. I think it's stone, but it looks like we don't have stone, so we're just gonna skip it. And then Baka resets, forgets where he was, but heads back into the cave.
At least now you know you can free loot the rest of the way down. No worries about that trap chest. It's going to give us our first look inside the item shop here. That is elixirs, leviathans, and asuras. If we find Iridia, this is the place we want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. The Iridia stock has gotten a little bit better here in our new revision of free enterprise, because that Leviathan summon has been moved down to tier 5, which makes it available in a lot more checks, and especially the shops down here, there have to be tier 5 items in that item shop, so it has a really high chance of appearing down here.
My favorite is when the Eblan shop has elixir and elixir.
Yeah, I like the double shops too. Or just a self summon. That one's always good too.
Baka looting the hospital there in Eblan picks up some Medusa arrows. Not necessarily great for DPS wise, but those could be great against certain enemies such as the Baron Guard, the Kuiper Guards.
Yeah, and I actually think they work on those Stalemen too. So, but Slippery's heading to the inn here and is going to pick up Eddie, see what the item is, and fight Evil Wall, which is not presenting a problem, as you said. Not a huge issue here. Oh, and that's a light sword in the bottom of Cave Eblan, which is a great find for that Cecil. And we have some leg.
Baka also found a Gungnir down here, and that's a Rosa in Eblan. That's a great pickup. Baka's going to be very happy to see that. Well as a Lunar Sparkle. We know, at least on Baka's side, it's not Wyvern. But Slippery might be tempted to go check it if he hasn't checked that waterfall yet. Meanwhile, Slippery, Ice 2, Palom takes out the Rubicante, and as I said, there's our Magma Key.
Yep, Magma Key was not hidden behind Demist somewhere rude or out of the way, which is, as a runner, is always good to see. But yeah, the bottom of Eblan has value, and so I don't think that Baka is regretting the decision to dive down here and see what's going on.
Not at all. That Rosa is going to do a lot of work this seed. This party is 100% shaping up. I would be tempted to just be like, okay, cool, I'll just take a 4-person party. These 4 are fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can pick up the old man out of his bed, wake him up rudely, and possibly enable some of your grinds. But other than that, this is a perfectly viable party throughout the entire game. And heroin robes and strength rings, yeah, the seed wants you to do this, I think.
Yeah, Baka had seen the heroin robe when he first went and saw the roses. Like, yeah, I would stop by and pick that up on my way out, because that's yes, just yes.
Yeah, especially once you see that Rosa. Boza is really, really good too. Might not even need it, but it's a great option to have for you. Looks like we're gonna kind of gear up our lightsaber here and probably head over to the inn and pick up our own Magma Key. So we'll see where Slippery decides to go underground. Probably check the free check and the bed, but we'll kind of see. Does have that Luca key. That fight is pretty powerful for where they're at now, but you do get to peek both sides of it to see what it is.
Yeah, but Baka going ahead, getting everybody equipped. He's going to go into Castle Eblan. He's going to go probably, I wouldn't be surprised to see some of these trap chests get taken just to try to get Rosa some quick levels.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these are all probably pretty viable fights for Baka as well. Party's pretty well equipped at this point, so I don't think he would have any problems with anything he can find here.
Yeah, Gungnir Spear, just picked up a glass hat. That'll protect everybody real fast. And yeah, this is definitely a doable fight here.
Looks like we're setting up a slingshot on Cecil.
No, that was just the bad luck from the Black Cat casting Bluster on Cecil.
Ah, all right. It looked like they'd selected Cecil. My bad.
Nope.
But Slippery looting the bottom of Feymarch here.
I believe you found the monster chest, that very first chest that you opened. That's why you avoided it on the second go.
nice assassin dagger that can come in handy sometimes, depending on our party, and also a power bonk. And Baka found the Mad Ogres. Shouldn't really pose a problem. We have some nice equipment to dispatch them pretty quickly, so...
Heroin, armor, charm, arrow, Rosa, make Mad Ogres go ow.
Yep, they fall over pretty quickly there, so...
Slippery finding a sorcerer robe in that back chest in the Feymarch. That's actually a pretty good pickup too. Good for magic defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And our restreamer pointing out the palettes that we have today. I've noticed that everybody's pretty pink and purple, which I quite enjoy as well. Our Kane, our Paladin, and our Rosa all kind of match today.
In the meantime, Slippery with a huge pickup down in the Feymarch. That was the party rock, the Earth Crystal itself. That means objective number 4 is just sitting there waiting for us. And who knows when we might pick up in that treasury.
Yep, and then at almost exactly the same time, Baka finds a crystal sword in one of the trap chests in Eblan, so that Cecil is very burr now and will just eat everything else that we find.
It's always a crystal sword in Eblan. Disclaimer, there's not always a crystal sword in Eblan.
There's always a crystal sword in Eblan when you don't look.
In the meantime, Slippery found the Magus Sisters in Leviathan and a blue robe in the Ashura spot down in the Feymarch. Was going to go check on that blue robe, and then we lost the stream for a little bit, so we'll have to wait until we get Slippery back.
Yeah, some pretty easy experience if that blue robe does turn out to be the water hag that you don't really need to end up fighting too much there. Pretty easy to get through, but you know, no objectives down there. For those of you who haven't seen a lot of the ZZ4, we do not have the case summon flag on, which means that key items are not behind normal summon spots, which means that King and Queen can't give any of our progress here.
Yeah, so those are more just for knowledge basis. Unfortunately, since Silver's stream has gone down, we are working on getting him back up. In the meantime, we're going to watch Baka take on this Rubicante, and Rubicante's not really going to stand a chance here.
Nah, I can't imagine. Crystal Sword Cecil, some nice Palom, some good arrows. We're going to burr right through this. Yeah, it looks like Slippery Stream has come back up. We've entered a shop that we're selling a bunch of stuff in, probably in the Feymarch. There's a Gungear there, too. So, you know, some nice equipment down there at the Feymarch. Doesn't look like we decided to fight whatever it was there, but we'll have to see. And Baka picks up his Magma key at the inn, and we'll probably follow Slippery down here into the underground.
We'll have to wait till we see stats come up on the screen to see if Cecil is anything but level 1 on Slippery's side, because that's where we were last time we saw.
Yep, for sure.
Level 9, I don't think that's a... Level 9 Cecil is not a fighting of that boss, so probably was... it was either Water Hag and we couldn't get through it, or it was indeed the Alt Gauntlet, and Slippery said, yeah, no, bye.
Yeah, my money's on Alt Gauntlet, and we just kind of reset out of it and said, nope, thank you, and went shopping instead. So now we're going to go to the bed here, talk to Yang, and so that then we can go talk to Yang's wife and see what Yang's wife has. Maybe a vanilla pan. I love vanilla pan.
Part of me hopes Slippery, in viewing the dialogue, clicks on the cat claw, like, here, I want to give you this, even though you're lying in bed. I don't need it.
I usually do that too. It's like, come on, I got a nice claw for you. Why don't you get up?
Nope, tries using a life potion instead. That doesn't work. So he's like, fine, I'll go talk to your wife.
Yang, get a life. Come on.
Meantime, Slippery heading back to the overworld as Baka heads back to the heads down to the underground for the first time. He's going to stop by Dwarf Castle. Might be making a play to check the first boss here.
Baka changes his mind, gonna go back up to the surface and check on something else before we do Dwarf Castle. I didn't mind really checking that boss though. Probably great. And realizes we're still looking for Octama. I'm gonna check our cave here and see what we have.
That's all gauntlets, and it's a water hag down in the Feymarch.
Yep, and as chat points out, Baka just making a save at Dwarf Castle and doing a quick cheeky check up here before we...
That's free. That's King Queen Eblan in the first spot of Dwarf.
Yeah, so probably going to go through Dwarf at this point. I mean, Baka has a fair amount of power here too, so wouldn't be surprised if he could just kind of take this and finish this check.
Meantime, with Slippery not picking up the crystal sword from the trap chest in Eblan, ended up getting the pink tail from Sheila 1, and just going to go immediately turn that in and see what it turns into.
Yep, again, can't really be a key item for us, but is usually a wonderful piece of equipment, a wonderful piece of edge equipment today. So if we do find that edge somewhere, possibly on the moon, then, we'll turn out great. Otherwise, we can sell it.
At this point, edge will be either on the giant or behind the package, and we won't see either.
Or Mr. not appearing in this seed.
Meantime, Slippery, with that Earth Crystal in hand, is going to come over here to Zot, probably open the Treasury, raid it, get the objective number 4 out the way, and then do the Zot dive. That's 2 characters, 2 bosses. We're still looking for that Octoman. Slippery has not checked Waterfall, does not know that's where Wyvern is, so in his mind probably thinking, this is 2 bosses, I've got 2 boss checks, let's go for this.
Yeah, I like this check. Zot can be rough, but does have a tendency to be okay to do, and we're going to go ahead and play one of our favorite games here in Free Enterprise, where we
Raid that treasury!
Yeah, so far the White Spear, best thing I've seen. The Bacchus Wine was nice. Not too much so far, but still got the back half to check. Crystal Ring is great. Dragon Whip's money, Crystal Helm's money, Archer, yeah, that's money. Another Heroine Robe, which Slippery didn't buy when Baka did, so Slippery probably going to be very happy to see that, especially once he decides to finally dive into Eblan, if he does, and get that Rosa.
Yeah, this is, to me, this is pretty good for T-Pro. I mean, you're not gonna have 2 crystal swords and adamants and all that wonderful stuff down here, but this is pretty good. I don't mind this for a treasury for our current party. Bunch of edge stuff, but that's just going to be how the seed goes, right?
Yeah, I think I agree with Chat. Chat saying 7 out of 10. I think that's about reasonable. Meantime, Baka finding Dr. Luggage, Dr. Cutscene, whatever you want to call him, in the back spot of Dwarf Castle. This is extremely free at this point, so no worries here. It looks like the character was a Porum that came from it. Got rid of Edward, took Porum, which I agree with as well.
Yep, again, our party's shaping up nicely, and having that extra white mage is always a bonus. Two berserk casters can really speed up some of our checks and some of our later bosses, and yeah, I would not be surprised if Baka just keeps this party all the way through. And we get a cyan hand today, the creepy hand, one of my favorite cutscenes here in Final Fantasy IV.
Yeah, I think this one is second only to the ghost hand from V-Mist.
The ghost hand really is the best, but cyan hand's pretty good. Not something you see all the time, so I'll take it.
That takes care of Dwarf Castle here for Baka. Today's dwarven fashion around Luca's neck it's a pass.
Why is Luca carrying a pass to Toria around?
Oh, maybe she was going on a field trip and, brought it home with her. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Do you think the dwarf children take field trips up to Toria?
I'd have to wait till the Magma key is found so the pass can be opened, but sure, why not?
Yeah, you know, maybe Uncle Sid comes by in the airship and takes all the kids on a ride during some school days.
Meantime, Slippery climbing Zod, found the flame dog chest, gonna take it on. Let's see if we get another crystal sword or if it's gonna be something else from here. It's a Leviathan summon. We still have not seen Iridia, so not really any help at the moment.
Yeah, and I'm not sure at this point if you're going to take Iridia based on the characters we've already seen in the checks we know. You know, it depends, I guess, on if Slippery finds Iridia up here, but I'm just not sure that that's on the table today.
Slippery gonna save, and here we go. Who is at the Maga Sister spot? It is Antlion.
Yeah, this, you know, not the worst place to find Antlion, not the best place to find Antlion. You know, should be able to get through this, but Antlion is still pretty punchy here, so...
Yeah, punchy, but not that bad. Those counters are going to do about 150 to 200 damage each. The punches, if they connect, will do about the same. This is actually not that bad of a spot.
Yeah, that's fair. But we'll see how we get on through it. Eddie goes down to one of the counters here, so but not a super surprising result. But we'll see how long it takes us to get through Antlion and see what else we have in store.
If an Edward falls in Zot, does anyone really care?
I'm not really sure. Where does Edward hide in Zot?
To answer a question from our researcher in chat, Pinktail was the Sheila 1 turn-in, which is what Baka is working on setting up right now after picking up his crystal from the Fame Arch, and would not be surprised to see him go turn in Sheila 1 and then beeline it to Zot.
Does seem like pretty efficient routing here, and you know, if they find Twin Harp up here on Zod, I wouldn't be surprised to see them possibly redo that, take care of all the checks that we can do up on the Blue Planet.
Yeah, right now the biggest divergence in routings was Baka taking on, or going down Cave Eblan to pick up that Rosa, and then taking on the trap chest in Eblan Castle. That Slippery did not do. Slippery went straight on the ground, picked up the Earth Crystal, and is now ahead, basically a check and a half, if you want to count the Sheila 1 as a half check at its current point. But we find a Yang as the first character here. We do have that Cat Claw for him, and Slippery has not seen the Rosa yet.
No, and we'll take the Yang for now, almost assuredly, but, you know, not a bad pickup here. 3 Burly Boys is pretty good.
There's another Porum. There's our White Mage for Slippery. I would see probably take the Yang, take the Porum, get rid of the Edward. That would be my thought process.
Yeah, I completely agree. I can't imagine that we're holding on to Edward there. Gonna take his Samurai Bow, though. So yeah, Seed kind of lining up, not super jetty, but providing all of the equipment our runners need, all of the things, all the resources our runners need to make their way through these checks without a ton of problems. Seems to be just kind of heading along for us here.
Meantime, Slippery, unfortunately, fighting the hardest boss in the game. That's right, the inventory boss. Has so much stuff, doesn't want to get rid of some of it. Has to be able to get that bow and that arrow that he wanted.
Yeah, we're still holding out on the Edge Hope here, it looks like. Plus, a lot of that gear just sells for a ton of money, so if you find a curse ring or something that you need to buy, you want to hang on to it until you can get to a shop and unload it on some poor shopkeeper.
In the meantime, Baka has turned in his Earth Crystal. He is raiding his treasury. Again, going to be a decent haul for him. Nothing really good for that Rosa, but again, that White Spear for the Cane is great, plus the Crystal ring.
Plus, we find some dolls on the top of Zot here. Again, just not really too terrible for us. wouldn't be super surprised to see Calbrena, but with the caliber of our... I would get Calbrena here, but with the caliber of our runners, I would expect them to be able to get through this fight pretty easily without seeing the rest of the doll. You do have some experience stolen when that happens, but it's worth it to get through the fight that much quicker.
Yeah, and this is going to actually be something to keep an eye on here. Slippery's Palom does not know Quake yet, relying on Virus to get through this. Baka's has Quake thanks to the fight, the trap chest in Eblan, plus the fights in Dwarf Castle. So Baka is actually going to be able to get through this fight a lot faster than Slippery, make up some of the time that he's quote-unquote behind here, even though we're pretty much, dead even considering different checks that have been made.
Yeah, this seed has presented a pretty, I would, not exactly linear, but a pretty linear path through it, and our runners are obviously pretty close in execution here. It looks like about on the clock right now, one check behind, but Slippery not having done that cave, and Baka has a lot more value right now.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, Baka, it's actually pretty much dead even. Slippery has the 2 Zot bosses under his belt, but Baka's got the 2 Dwarf Castle bosses under his. So basically dead even. Plus, as RB streamer Scarian pointing out, Baka does have that crystal sword. There's the adamant though. That's half a forge.
Yeah, I mean, certainly worth it to come up here and do that. I think now though, it looks like that Luca cave is looking pretty juicy right now.
Personally, I'd be going for top of tower first.
I might peek Luca to see what it is. Since you can actually see the boss and the item before you have to finish the boss, I may walk all the way through there to see what it is before I do a keyless tower. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine either is wrong.
That's the joys of this randomizer. There is no wrong answer here. It's just, what do you feel comfortable doing? Does Slippery want to do, top of tower next? Does he want to go to the Luca cave? Does he want to do Dwarf Castle since he hasn't done that? For Bakashinobi, after he finishes that, what's his next play? Does he go back down to do Luca or to do the keyless tower? Does he go take on that wyvern that he knows is sitting in the waterfall? I mean, it basically is all about what you feel most comfortable with and what order you want to do them in.
Yeah, for sure. I could see Baka probably saving that wyvern till post-grind, because it's always going to be easier there. Slippery taking the play, as you said, going down to Dwarf Castle and going to make up that check. And so, we'll probably come out of this pretty even at the end here, and we'll see how our runners route from there. Chat talking about too. The next race here is going to be at 8:30 Eastern. It's over. Yeah, I actually don't know where it is.
Give me a second. I'll load that information up. The next free stream is 8:30 p.m. Eastern time here on this Free Enterprise channel. It'll be Hereward versus Prof. Corey.
Yeah, should be another great race. All of our races today have been real close and real fun to watch. So if you missed some of the earlier ones, I would highly recommend going back and watching the VODs when they're posted and seeing some of the great skill that we have in the Free Enterprise community. And if you're interested and you haven't yet joined us, I would highly recommend joining us on our Discord and beginning to run these seeds. We have some beginner run sets, we have intermediate sets, we have tons of people there who like to help out. It's a real friendly community, and yeah, come on by. I encourage everybody to get started. This is a really fun game, and it's pretty, there's plenty of people here to get you started.
Yep, on the Discord, there is actually 100% a newbies channel that you can ask any question you have about the randomizer or the game itself, and someone a lot more knowledgeable than me will more than likely be able to answer it for you.
Yeah, the newbie channel also has a tendency to devolve into extremely technical conversations, so you'll probably learn a lot more about what you ask than possibly you could imagine people know. It is a great community. We have a ton of people with way more knowledge than myself that help out everybody, and it's great. And Baka getting his rocks, so we'll see where he goes, and it does look like you were right, and Baka's just a slight bit ahead of Slippery, but it really is neck and neck here.
Yeah, the key was going to be if Slippery could get out the Luge fight before, or at the same time Baka came out as Zot, and Slippery would have already been underground, whereas Baka had to fly underground. And unfortunately, Baka was able to get through it a little bit faster and get that Quake spell against the dolls, making the difference. Baka taking a safety save outside of the tower, and is going to go check and peek what's down here in Luca first. And if it's not anything that's important, just reset out. It's already at the tower.
Yep, heads up play there. We'll check the item, and almost assuredly we'll check the boss here too. We still do have one check. He does know where Wyvern is, but still looking for that Octoman too, and would probably take an Octoman here, I think. I'm not as efficient at those checks as some of our runners here, but would at least give it a go.
Yeah, Octomam or a Demus down here in Luca, those are the only two bosses I could see taking, unless it's something like, unless this is Legend Sword. If this is straight up Legend Sword or Darkness, because Darkness is 100% required, then we would probably just reset out.
Yep, absolutely. And Slippery doing a little bit of looting in Dwarf Castle here, making their way through, finding some equipment, some of the middle tier equipment that's nice to have, but isn't extremely notable.
And that Blizzard Spear would have been nice if not for the fact we've already seen and defeated Rubicante.
Right, or if we thought we were going to get an edge, it's a good thing to throw, but at this point, probably just not that notable for us.
Luca Cave is just a coffin, so
that is huge zonk.
So this is not a boss that we needed. This is not a Demus or Octoman. It's going to be an immediate reset. That's a reset.
That is a reset. We are not facing elements at all. Elements can stay there in the Luca Cave. The Luca Cave will stay locked in this reality, and we are going to head up Keyless Tower, which, could be, let's see, could be Harp, could be the Tower Key, could be Bearing Key, or could be the Darkness Crystal.
All right, show me a vanilla Tower Key into a Rat Tail, into a Pan, into a Heart, into the Darkness Crystal.
That is quite the thing to hope for. I'm thinking Harp into Darkness. This is me. Harp into Darkness with Octomam in the Ribbon Room, and then the Tower Key that is hiding the Legend Sword, let's say.
In the meantime, that is a free fight up here at the top of tower. That is either Baron Guards or Kaipo Guards. Either way, that is 100% free. Especially with Baka having the Crystal Sword. This is going to be... Or as our researcher pointing out, that would have been a great use for the coffin that we found out in Luca if we felt like walking it out.
Yeah, I still don't think it would have been worth that Elements fight. But yeah, it would have made this fight pretty free here. But we can mute these guards, and they will pose very little threat to us, and they're not even really punching that hard. So extremely free, and again, we have almost reached sync. Slippery coming the same way here. So very close race that we have today. It's super exciting to see where our runners will take us next.
Yeah, at this point, Baka ahead just barely because of the fact of having the knowledge of Luca Key, having the knowledge of Wyvern, and having grabbed that Rosa from Eblan. But again, it's still anyone's race at this point. They both have a white mage, so there's no real advantage to Baka's Rosa with the exception of that heroin robe and the damage she can put out.
Yeah, and it's... Slippery may almost have an advantage with having the 3 physical fighters instead of 2, especially since we've found some pretty good Yang equipment. I do love Rosa. Rosa's probably one of the better characters in the game, but the 2 white mages can be good, but can also kind of slow you down a little bit through some of these checks, so we'll see.
And our tracker Warlink pointing out this has to be some sort of progression, or else we're going to have the fabled King Queen Eblan or demissed at King Queen Eblan's spot holding progression, which would be absolutely hilarious to me. Oh, it's this time you're correct. It's a harp.
It is our harp. So, tell me, Gambit, why do we like the harp so much in the free enterprise community?
Well, in the vanilla game, Edward plays a tune which breaks the Dark Elf spell, and then you can go on and fight the Dark Elf to get the Earth Crystal. In the randomizer, we don't want just any old tune. We decided to randomize that tune, so we've got a ton. I think something like 260, maybe more, Twin Harp songs that get randomly shuffled into the pool, and we'll see which one we get today once we get there.
Yeah, we have a cadre of extremely talented members of the community who compose songs in the harp for us and make sprites. That's mostly Scala Kitty, and just do a wonderful job, really kind of bringing some extra randomness and extra fun to free enterprise here. So we're gonna have to go chase that harp, though. We don't have any other option here. So, no fading harp today.
Yeah, we have our resident music director, Calamity, doing a lot of songs. Community member Xenocat823543 also has composed quite a few of them. It's always a treat to have that. Bakashinobi going to take on this Wyvern first, which I actually completely agree and understand. And Wyvern uses Demolish and Sorry by Rosa.
Yeah, probably not the worst Witchburn here. Oh, and goes down extremely quickly as well. I always forget how few hit points this check has since we do it so rarely. But yeah, just clearing out the blue planet at this point. There's, except for when we find the bearing key, there's just not going to be that much left here.
Baka immediately heading back over to Zot. Going to park, going to go find that black chocobo, and we are heading into Cave Magnus.
An interesting play I'll point out here that was lost on me for quite a while when I started running free enterprise is keeping that Rosa down and not healing. Everybody needs to be incapacitated in some way for Dark Elf, for Edward to play his pretty tune, and for the Dark Elf to become beatable. And so taking that demolished Rosa over here is a pretty heads-up play. I would probably use a tent because I would forget.
My favorite is when you go, you get the harp like at Dwarf Castle, and I muscle memory going and using the Dwarven pot to heal up before I leave Dwarf Castle. And I'm like, I was going to Cave Magnus. Why don't I do this?
Yeah, I do that all the time. I've healed between the fights on the hook route as well. That's one of my favorite things to do.
We all have our quirks. Meanwhile, Slippery is taking the trap chest down here in Lower Babel, trying to hope for like a nice weapon like a crystal sword or something. Got an elixir from that one. Isn't having too much luck, but still. We're going to be quiet because it's time for everyone's favorite bard, Edward, to play us a tune. So take it away, DJ Spiniti. We'll have to see if Baka does click on the harp to let us know what the song was. I'm not sure I recognized it. I want to say it's a Chrono Cross song, either that or Final Fantasy Tactics, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's certainly not one I recognize, but I'm not really up on all the music as far as somebody. And we find a tower key in our twin harp, so we're gonna go back to the tower and see who's guarding the cannon today.
You're 2 for 2 now on this chain. Love to see it.
Yeah, I do not like my commentator's curse all of a sudden, and I'm sort of regretting all of my choices. But Baka's gonna head right back down there. The cannon boss is usually extremely easy and shouldn't have any problem here. And it looks like we're still having periodic problems with Slippery Stream a little bit. So we'll see who's waiting for us on the bottom of tower. Interestingly enough here, this does sort of cut off one of the things that you can do with edge that, a lot of times the runners, if they get an edge, will come in here and do some of the trap tests because they're all alerts or one of those type of enemies, and you can steal some sirens from them, and then that makes your grind that much more free. So, but once the tower blows up, you can no longer do that.
Actually, no. Once the tower blows up, you can still come back in.
Oh, can you? Hey,
yes.
Look, I'm wrong.
Yeah, once you complete the tower key, because you can do the tower key before you even do top of tower, and you can come back in. It's one of those things that was set up. I don't think in vanilla you can, because, well, vanilla it's very linear. You exit the tower, you're done. Hey, look, there's Zemus.
Look, double value here in our in the bottom of our tower.
But yeah, in vanilla, yeah, you're very linear. You cannot come back in. In the randomizer, we understand, hey, there's going to be times you might go into the tower to do the tower key, but not do the top of tower, or you might have to come back and do trap chests. So we don't want to restrict our access, so you can still come back in even after it blows up.
Oh, learn something new every time I do this. I assumed if you had done both, it wouldn't let you back in, but
Well, it's actually it's the same with the Giant of Babel. You can complete the Giant of Babel, and then go back into the Giant if you want to. If you want to do another grind, or let's say you just walk through and you did the boss, take on the last arm chest, you can go back in. There's just no bosses at the back end. You can just walk straight through. So our restreamer letting us know we're still having some issues trying to get Slippery Stream back up. There we go. Looks like we got. The Slippery seems to be going down Luca and is doing a door grind on his way down a little bit, according to our restreamer.
Yeah, that door grind can be pretty interesting. Lots of experience, and if you time it right, it's pretty free. It's not something we see every day, but one of the options that a lot of our runners do choose, one of the options that is present in our flag set, especially with the life glitch off, it does sort of change the relative worth of a lot of the different grinds we have available to us.
Baka picking up a pan from that tower check. He's going to go check Demas first before doing it, and ends up accidentally walking the wrong way. Thankfully, we did not have the package in our inventory, so not going to cost us anything. And it was only a single door that Slippery did, according to our restreamer.
And we find the rat tail from Demist. And Baka accidentally activating one of the glitches where the first step you take out of the airship will not actually trigger any of the hotspots on the map. So you can also, if you airship right outside of a cave and then move immediately up, you don't enter the cave, you just kind of stand there. It's kind of funny.
Anytime Baka is going back, he's going to set up Sheila 2 first. Then I'll bet we'll see the Rat Tail, Pink Tail, and Sheila 2 all at the same time, since they're in basically the same place.
Slippery about to get the news here as well that none of this is needed, and yes, it resets right out. And will continue on their way.
We'll accidentally start a new game first and go, whoops, that's not what I meant to do, and have to reset once again.
Wait, why is Cecil a Dark Knight again? What's going on?
Meantime, we've got Baka balking our favorite monk over the head with the pan. The Sylphs are going to give us some kind of item that we don't really care about because we have a Crystal Sword Cecil. It's a Crystal Ring. Okay, I guess we sort of care about that.
Certainly not the worst thing to see from the Sylphs, but they're not going to give us any of our key items today. Just something out of the pretty good item pool.
Slippery is going to check the Choco Butt. Picks up a Blizzard and a Diamond Ring.
And Baka gonna go turn in the tail and figure out where our wonderful chain here leads us next.
I mean, this has to be some kind of completion item, whether it's a Legend Sword, a spoon, a Sand Ruby, or a package. Because, or one, okay, take it back. Baron Key is still out there. The Baron Key is the only item that has chain left on it. But that's a Darkness Crystal. We've got Moon Access. We can go complete agenda number 2 when we're ready.
Yep, absolutely. And the Moon's a pretty good place to hunt for bosses, kind of depending on your comfort beating some of the bosses that can turn up there. So, Baka gonna go turn the last pan check in here and see what that turns into for us. And sees if we can... I mean, this is a potential go mode at this point. If we get the Legend Sword here, you know, then we know exactly what we need to do to beat the Seed.
Yeah, Legend Sword is basically go mode. Anything else, he took the safety saves, so he can just reset out if this is nothing. But that's not nothing. That's the Baron Key. That's the last of our chain items. But he does reset.
Yeah, resets out anyway. If you're not going to chase it, I understand that decision, one supposes. You know, going to go presumably raise the whale, see what's up on the moon. Pretty good chance of finding the Octomom up there, so pretty good chance Baron Key could just kind of be a big Zot. We know that the first check isn't Octomom, so...
Yeah, at this point you've got more checks up on the moon for the key items than you do for that one Baron Key. You've got basically 2 bosses and 1 key item check there. And the only thing that will hurt you in this decision is if Octomam's on the throne and he's hiding the Legend Sword. Other than that, the moon's probably the right play, at least percentage-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. And with you know, the equipment that Baka has and everything, probably could boost up some levels up there depending on what fights we find. And you know, the Sheila 2 check just does not take that much time to redo. If you end up having to redo it, it's not like a big boss fight that you'd end up having to redo. So, you know, nice heads up play here. Has that knowledge now, but heading to the moon. I wonder if we'll probably head right to Cave Value at first, I would imagine.
No, we're going to check the character. Is there a character here that you take at this point?
So we have Palamporum, Rosa, Kane, Cecil. I would take Edge, I think.
Baka has not done the trap chest, so yeah, Edge would open up the ability to steal Sirens and do a grind. But that is not an Edge. That is everyone's favorite, well, second favorite old man. Sorry, tell us our favorite. But that is Sid. That is our engineer. I don't think he's joining this party. Sorry.
Nah, I can't see this. Early Sids are great. The later you get in a Seed, the kind of the value that Sid can bring to a party does have a tendency to go down. He has HP growth like Yang does, and so he is very beefy towards the end of the game, but that's about it. His damage output just doesn't match the other burly boys that we have in our party already.
Meantime, Slippery did give us the music check. It is Xenogears is what this is from, and we'll be quiet, let it play for just a little bit as we got Slippery's stream back.
And Slippery getting through that fight pretty quickly here, and Baka going to take some of the behemoths down in cave value here, and you know, I like this play. You have to come through here anyway. You know, at any moment you could be in go mode. You can't really get that out of cave value, but you know, pretty heads up play taking some of these behemoths on Baka's way down.
In fact, for Baka, you've got a crystal sword, you've got a white spear, you've got the best you can melee-wise from your two heavy fighters. Take the behemoth. It is very, very good experience, especially considering the fact you do have 10 key items at this point too, so you're getting double that experience.
Yep, and our white mages are able to get everybody blinking up here, it looks like, in pretty short order, and just as I say that, Kane takes a pretty good hit, but does not go down, so, you know, still has 37 more hit points than Kane really needs to whack Behemoth, but, yeah, nice grind option here for Bakashinobi, and both of our runners kind of showing us some of the alternates that you can kind of run into when one of our slightly more normal grinds isn't presented.
7, 6, a couple more levels. We'll Rose, we gotta wait for Rose. 6, probably 6 on all the mages. Well, 8 on Quorum, 6 on Kane. But yeah, that's a nice little XP infusion there.
Yeah, up to 35. Got some pretty good spells on all of our mages here, and really kind of getting powered up. You know, I think if it were me, I'd be tempted to take maybe one more Behemoth on the way down, but... And it does seem like that's what we're going to do. While Slippery gets through their demist fight, you know, with absolutely no problem. Kind of blowing through these fights with some of the extra levels, checking this a little bit later.
Yeah, the big thing for Divergent here is going to be when Slippery gets that Baron Key from Sheila 2. If Slippery decides, I need to check this now, and it has both the Legend Sword and Octomam, Slippery's in the driver's seat. If he decides not to, or it doesn't pay off, then this is Baka's race to lose at this current moment.
Yeah, and Slippery doesn't know where Wyvern is still, and so I would like to think Slippery is going to try and kind of make the Baron Key play, but I don't know if I would in his shoes. I would probably be tempted to go up to the moon with a couple boss hunts in front of me.
That is a good point, and especially now that he has seen and defeated Demist, there's no reason to check those spots, except for an Octoman. We'll have to see if he actually decides to check it.
Yeah, it's still possible while he's flying by, kind of pop in there, but at this point in the seed, you know, it may be hard to remember that that's something we need to check. So, looks like we gained 2 or 3 more levels out of that second Behemoth over on Baka's side. Slippery getting the pan and going to go immediately make that check as well, as, you know, we called. So, I'm going to take the last Behemoth down here as well.
I mean, why not? Go ahead and take it while you're here.
It's just not a good day to be a Behemoth, it looks like.
You just sit there chilling in Cave Bahamut. It's like, yeah, I'm loving my life, just laying here. And then all of a sudden, here comes this party of a couple kids, a couple adults, and this cute-looking white mage. And they're just going to attack me for no reason.
Yeah, Mom and Dad, their kids, and his brother kind of come through and just wipe us off the map. It's just not fair.
Meantime, Slippery bonks on with the fan, picks up his crystal ring. He's going to head straight to Baron to pick up straight to Sheila 2 to pick up the Baron Key. Don't leave this check this Demist yet, because I don't see the rat tail lit up, so might be doing that right now.
Yeah, probably getting a 2-for up here. You know, efficient routing does save you time, seconds, minutes, at this point. And since these are both free, you're not gaining anything except for knowledge by grabbing them at this point.
Meantime, Baka is through the third Behemoth. Now we get to see what the actual boss here is in K value.
Slippery doing some checks here in in the Mist Village, and I always forget this house exists.
You see what I see up at the top of K Value?
Yeah, I see it. K Value has our value here. So Baka is in go mode, assuming that we can get through this, which I don't think is going to be a problem at this point.
Yeah, this is unfortunate for Slippery, because this is what he needed to find Octomam down in Baron to really turn this race around, and this is a 2-4 for Baka. This will be go mode for Baka. He will get his crystal after this fight, and just needs to grind and then go.
Yeah, and I mean, there is a little bit of grind here that needs to be had. Our children are lacking in some hit points, but we're not looking for a huge grind here. I don't know if Baka found an Hourglass 2 or anything like that. We may just take a King Ryu and go.
Honestly, I would not be surprised to see Baka dive down to the Ribbon Room. That's 200,000 experience because of the double XP. That one fight should get Rosa up above 2,000 hit points, which is at least my benchmark of where I want her to be when I go. And the kids, love you guys. You guys are not really going to be doing much for me. It's going to be Kane, Cecil, and Rosa healing, and that's my refight.
Yep, absolutely. Not that worried about it, but yeah, we're just not that far from going and finding Z and hopefully finishing this seed. And as this is game 3, as long as everything kind of turns out for us, Baka will be punching his ticket into the round of 32.
In the meantime, Slippery is going to go check this Baron key, parking outside Baron, going to heal up. Again, in his situation, the race being where it is, I agree with this play. This is the play that I would do. Unfortunately, us in the commentators booth at this point, no, it is not the correct play. It's not going to pay off. And unfortunately for him, this is go mode for Bakashinobi. There is his crystal. Now he just has to decide what he wants to do to finish grinding and go.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see where Baka goes. We do have that pass, and so we don't really have to walk the LST, but we'll see where we end up. And to your point, I'm interested to see what's behind our boss in Baron here. But we do know it's easy for us up here to go. It's kind of too bad. But it's been close the whole race, and so just that one little piece of divergence kind of makes all the difference.
Yeah, as I said, in Slippery's position, this is the exact same play I would go for, especially if I'm feeling behind. I'm like, I gambled this. The one key item, 2 bosses here over going to the moon. I agree with the play. As I said, just one of those things we know it's not going. Baka might just be going, though. Baka just took the whale, landed outside Toria. He might be like, you know what, screw this. I'm fine with my levels. Let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a play. I good on him. Getting Rosa up to 19 with that apple, and we're just gonna go. And we do see Mylon and Friends gave us our cat claw at the beginning here.
Mylon and Friends not going to stand a chance against Slippery's party. But yeah, Bakashinobi running into Toria. It's going to take a pit stop and take a look at the item shop real fast. Probably wants to pick up a couple of defensive supplies. But it's about this time that there's a question that we usually ask in the free enterprise community. And again, we've got a minute or two before we get there, but I'm gonna let you do the honors tonight.
So yeah, we should explain, and we do see some of our fun flags here appearing in chat that, along with the harp that Gambit explained earlier, we can't really randomize Zeromus at all. He's hard, he's powerful, he's a great final boss, but we have over 550, I'm confident in that number at least, sprites that Zeromus can be for us. And so every time that we get up here and we find Zeromus, we like to ask the question, whose butt are we going to kick this afternoon?
Scarlet Kitty in chat pointing out it's actually just under 540 right now, but
Wow.
it'll probably grow by the end of the tournament. I'm sure we'll get to 550 at least soon. Meantime, Slippery found Odin on the throne. Go figure in Baron. And has defeated him. About to find out who the character here is. Plus, we'll find out what's in the pot.
Oh, it's Tella. He got out of bed.
You defeated the evil of Baron? I shall wake up for this. Now I'll laugh if this was a sand ruby. It's like, you sent me away once, here, have this ruby. You can come get me anytime.
Yep. It would be very amusing here, but could be any of our terminal items, and we see Zeromus.
Tonight's final boss is Zeromus. Let's see how this goes for Baka. 5,000 damage from Crystal Sword Cecil right off the bat. That is not a bad way to start things.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and so I think somebody summoned Tella here way too late in the seed.
I'm absolutely happy with that Sand Ruby, 100%. That was great. Slippery's going to go check the boss down here in the other spot. Unfortunately, we know it's going to be a Zonk, but at least we'll be able to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And over on Baka's side, the counter nuke went into Kane, which is one of the places that we wanted to see it. And yep, just a Zonk, just a reset out. Probably going to go raise the whale here and head up to the moon. Probably following close to the same ones, doing a little bit of these boss checks here. Might find Wyvern.
Yeah, should actually be able to find the Wyvern now at this point if he checks the waterfall cave while he's doing these quick checks. That Bahamut also probably saying, hey, come up here. What's up here? Is going north, is going to waterfall. We'll find that Wyvern. That's going to be helpful at least. But first, let's take a look at second Tella.
Yep, I probably didn't check the bed when he was in Kaipo before, but yep, nope, bye. But you know, gonna go check that waterfall soon. We'll find our Wyvern, we'll kill our Wyvern, get our second objective on Slippery's side.
Yeah, which means all Slippery will need to do is head up to Cave Bahamut to complete objectives 2 and 5, and he'll be in go mode. And Baka's not looking too hot here. That's some very, very low level. That's slow got off after the Big Bang. So that was a nerf attempt that failed. This is not looking good.
No, we do see the black hole, which actually probably helps at this point. Now, gonna be a little bit close here. Hopefully Rosa gets the cure off, isn't gonna succumb to the sickness. But yeah, that was a barely unnerfed Big Bang there that everybody took and a ton of people fell. So looks like we're gonna get Cecil back up and maybe just try and power couple through this though.
Yeah, but Rosa's hit points, that's not the best spot to be in. A high roll and a Big Bang, and Rosa's going to go down. Just like that, 21:04. That is way too much. And it's just a Zerk Cecil left. This does not look good for Baka on this attempt at the very least.
So I wonder if Baka has Cure 3s. It's what I would want to do here, and nope. We take a wipe here on Zeromus and give Slippery a little bit of a chance to kind of do some more of his homework and get caught up.
Yeah, Slippery goes straight to Cave Bahamut and sees a double. If Baka takes a second wipe, we could have a race again.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Slippery decides that he wants to take some of the grinds and maybe improve his levels a little bit before trying to take on Zeromus.
meantime, Bakashinobi saying, I'm not going to grind anymore. I can do it at this level. Does some equipping swapping, puts the Silent Staff on Rosa to boost her white magic a little bit. And going right back in.
Yep. Don't hate this play. You know, you were pretty close to taking down Z that first time anyway, so just, you know, maybe a little bit of luck, maybe just a little bit of a different strategy, and, you know, you may be able to get through this. And I kind of do wonder if Baka feels a little behind as well. I mean, we've got a lot of key items that doesn't always feel the greatest, even though we're only 80 minutes into the seed.
Yeah, that's 100% something that he could feel. I mean, he did do the dive into Eblan to get that Rosa. He did dive Luca even though it was a bust. Might be feeling a little bit behind and thinking, I don't have time to go back and grind. Why is my opponent not done yet? This was a very, as we said plenty of times in the seed, a very linear seed. And might just feel like, oh crap, I've got to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't blame Baka at all for feeling that way. Looks like we're doing a little bit of inventory rearranging here, trying to get everything set up so that we're ready to take down Virgilness on our side. And then Slippery setting up to take on K Value. We'll get the good news of Octomom double value there, and isn't really too far behind, I don't think.
Yeah, the biggest thing is going to be for Slippery is how he decides he wants to grind once he gets these two bosses done. Having that second attacker in Yang or that third attacker, I should say, Yang, is definitely going to help. Because Yang's going to have the HP to survive Big Bang. He's actually going to do some damage output as opposed to Baka's side with the twins that are pretty much dead weight, unfortunately, in this fight. But you never know. I mean, 3-person fight could still get through on this attempt, and Slippery could just be like, I don't know what to grind, I don't know what to do, and unfortunately not be able to catch back up.
Yeah, I still think there's some race left here, and you know, I'm excited to see how we pull all the way through here. See if Slippery decides to take some of the behemoths as we go down here. And nope, just gonna go kill that Octomom.
Saw the Octomom and pops 1 to 2 Sirens as his inventory. He's probably going to take on some King Ryu's real fast for some levels, which not a bad play.
Nope, the King Ryu's are pretty good here too. You know, get you a bunch of experience. Slippery, I do believe, has 10 key items as well, so a lot of good levels in our friends here to boost us up.
Meantime, I didn't quite see if this was the case, but judging by, it looks like Baka might have turned his battle speed down just a bit on this attempt, because it definitely looks like it's moving more smoothly.
Yeah, definitely looks to be battle speed 3 or 4 here. You know, everybody's kind of still standing, but it's kind of that second big bang here that's going to be kind of the bellwether as to whether or not we're gonna make it.
Well, Baka actually sitting and waiting on Porum's turn to cast this slow to nerf the Big Bang. Definitely agree with that. Uses the rule of thumb. It's like when you've got Berserkers, once the shake happens, 2 attacks happen, and then queue up the slow. That's what he does. Counter nuke hits Porum. That's actually perfectly fine. She'll go down, but she wasn't really much needed in this fight anyway. And we should hopefully have a successful nerf here.
Yep, we'll have to see how we get through here. Our Zerkers look like they're going to take a swing, and then we'll see a big bang.
Actually, we ended up having a face it. That's another shake. So
yeah, looking a lot healthier Z fight here, and Slippery gets through his King Ryu's.
Oh, Baka queued up a slow to nerf a Big Bang. Didn't get it off in time. This is full power. Rosa goes down. Not going to worry about a counter, but it's only the Zerk, Kane, and Cecil left up.
Yeah, we'll see how many hit points they can get through. Black Hole's probably going to help more than it hurts here. Maybe be able to pick up this Rosa and hopefully get around, but it's going to be rough.
The good news is you are in phase 2, so it's going to be a nuke coming next. Unfortunately, does not win the 50-50. It's a nuke hits the active player in Cecil. This might unfortunately be another wipe. It looks like it's going to get the Cure 4 off, so this is still salvageable.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how we can continue on here. If we get kind of lucky, I think that we'll be able to make it, get another shake here. Hopefully we'll be able to, hopefully it'll be a little bit low. Looks like we're gonna, yeah, we're just gonna take another big bang, see how this goes. Low roll here, we get to keep rolling.
That's a low roll.
Yeah.
So Cure 4 comes out immediately. There'll be a black hole coming up here in a minute. So should have enough time to work on getting Cecil back up, which is exactly what Brock is going to do.
Yep, and over on Slippery's side, we're taking another set of King Ryus. Trying to just get those levels up before we fight Octomam and get into go mode.
There we go. Baka's got Cecil and Kane both back up. Here comes the big bang. Still need a low roll for that Rosa in order to survive, but with Cecil up as well, Cecil and Kane should both survive no matter what.
Yeah,
does get a low roll.
Pretty low there, so pretty lucky to be able to get a Cure 4 out here, and you know, I wouldn't be so. Yep, see rocks here pretty soon.
Wait, someone needs to dodge. No one dodged.
Oh, rough.
That's a meteor wipe.
The wombo combo hits Baka.
Yeah, Slippery exiting back out. It's going to heal, save, and go in and take on that Octomam. But Baka's time is running short. Another wipe, and Slippery is right back in it. Yeah, meteor wipes are the worst because you know you're close. You know you're that close, especially with that party. One swipe from both Cecil and Kane probably ends that fight.
Yeah, a lower big bang, a lower second big bang or third big bang, probably that fight Baka's already done. So just a little bit of bad luck there. Going up and trying it again while Slippery heads to Octomam probably won't have a problem with that. So yeah, I thought for sure we'd get some dodges as well.
Yeah, needed just one of them to dodge, and unfortunately none of them could. And that was all they wrote for that one. Meantime, Slippery is going to the Octomam, is going to take on this fight, has the levels, is feeling great. You see everybody up in about 2,000 hit point range, except for Yang at almost 3,000 because of his HP growth. The Twins at 1,000 because of their HP growth.
Yeah, and it looks like Slippery's stream is slipping away from us again, so we'll I don't imagine we'll have any problems getting through Octomam. We've already lost a limb, so yeah, we're well on our way there. Baka back into the third attempt here at Zeromus, and you know, this is becoming quite a race.
Yeah, well, Slippery Screen keeps sliding away from us. We'll have our restreamer Ascarian work on catching it. Again, shout outs to our behind the scenes crew. Ascarian doing the restream, Warlink doing the tracking. Again, without them, we wouldn't be here. Thank you so much to both of you. As we've got Slippery Screen back. As Baka throws a crystal and sees Virgilness for the third time tonight.
Yep, I do not envy some of our restreamers sometimes, because you never know when Twitch is going to argue with one of our runners, and it's going to be one of those days where you're you're always kind of having to check on things. So great job. All of our volunteers do a great job making us look good up here in the booth. So throwing out that slow, nerfing Virgilness once again. And we hit the walled Palom this time, so an even better target than the last two.
But it's always good when that counter nuke bounces off the wall and hits Zeromus right back in his face.
Yeah, it feels good. You feel like, even though it's completely random, you always feel like you did something really clever when that happens, and it's like, yeah, I got it, you know? So, love that feeling. And Slippery, as predicted, does get through the Octoman fight. Will light up both of their objectives, grab the crystal, and we'll see where they go from there. Interesting to see if they decide to take, like, a ribbon room or one of the altars and see, or if we head back in as well.
I think, personally, looking at Slippery's levels, if I was in that position, I would go down to the ribbon room, I would take that fight, and then depending on what's there and where I'm looking at, I might even take the Octoman spot, or not Octoman, or the Pogo spot as well, just for that experience. It just depends on how he feels, where he's at in seed. And judging by where he's going, yeah, it looks like he's going to die and try to take some of those high XP spots.
Yep, we're going to go rest. I believe we're going to see Sid for the first time here too, and then probably head down and fight a couple of the spots. It looks to be a good choice at this point. As you've made most of your checks and you've got most of your items, you just kind of keep on trucking here.
Yeah, if you're looking at the race room and you're not seeing a dot done yet, you're just like, okay, I've got to grind. I'm in go mode. I need to grind. I need to grind. And, where you're at right now, this is really the best thing that's currently on the table for you.
Yeah, and I bet both of our runners now are just staring at that restream room going, why haven't they done yet? You know, I bet they're both just feeling real behind, unfortunately. But, yeah. Heading down for some experience. It looks like Baka's fight's going pretty smoothly here. I think that we're waiting on Rosa here to heal after our next big bang, and we'll see how this continues.
We're waiting on Rosa for the nerf. As you see, there was a shake from Virgil Miss, and gets the 2 attacks and gets to slow. So yeah, this should hopefully be able to nerf. Meanwhile, Slippery taking on some of the chests, ends up finding the red and blue dragon chest. Probably not what he wanted to see. But if he can get through this, that is going to be some big experience.
Yeah, and the chests on the LST here can have some pretty good gear. I don't know exactly what Slippery might be looking for. I mean, obviously he's looking for mostly experience, but you know, you could pull some pretty good gear out of some of those.
Yeah, the downside is these dragons hurt. They hurt hard. So on Baka's side, this fight seems to be going very well. We've got 4 people up currently, including that Porum. Having that extra healer up at the current moment is probably going to make a lot of difference right now. Especially here with the black hole coming out. 2 white mages means 2 people casting Berserk, get those Berserkers going back as quick as possible.
Yep, and that's going to make our experience even better, even easier. Looks like this may be the 3rd time's the charm for Baka here, but we'll see. We'll see how it continues. The nuke on Rosa isn't exactly what you wanted to see, especially at that roll. But
Ooh.
yeah,
that was a very, very high roll on that nuke, and that is not good. Forum's going to do her best to get Rosa back up. Should have enough time to hopefully get that done, though. And yeah, Cecil, currently not Zerg, is going to use a Cure 3 pot on Rosa, but it's not going to matter. That's rocks.
yeah.
Everybody gets hit, but
We have
at
no
this
dodges
point,
again, but
yeah, at this point we should be fine. A Cure 3 from Forum should be more than enough to keep us out of the rocks range.
yeah. I mean, Cecil and Kane are the important ones here, and they can take a couple more rounds of rocks probably before. So, looks like we're gonna make it through this time, probably.
We should be able to. So there's another set of rocks. Kane and Cecil both dodge this time. Forum unfortunately goes down, but I think it's going to be too little, too late for Virgil Miss, as there's the shake, there's the crack, there's the boom, there's our winner. Bakashinobi is going to be moving on to the round of 32, taking this game 3 with a final time of 1 hour and 35 minutes, 51 seconds. GG's to Bakashinobi, 3rd time's the charm. Congratulations, sir.
Hey, that Yeah, that fight rocked, absolutely.
Yeah, so tell us about your Z fight. Yeah.
Turns out, relative agility 1 is really helpful because you can count the exact number of turns to go and get the nerf in, and I screwed that up a few times. Thankfully, after 2 fights of experience, I was able to get that timing and start nerfing some of them.
Yeah, I mean, third time was the charm there. It looked like you really just had a little bit of bad luck that second time, though. The 0 dodges there, through 2 out of the 3 rocks just did not seem to go your way.
Yeah, Rosa isn't a heroine robe, so she's got minus 30 to the combined will and wisdom stat, which takes away 1 evade multiplier. It's got this silent staff to her back plus 10, but it's still iffy as to what her exact casting stats are. But that speed is just too important, I think, in that fight in relative agility with fair agility. So just had to go with that.
Yep, that makes sense. So tell us your thoughts about the seed overall. Was there anything in particular that you that stands out as interesting?
Interesting is interesting way of saying Crystal Sword Cecil go burr. That was definitely a turning moment in the seed of, okay, I stopped doing anything but killing bosses for until I find the Earth Crystal and check to see if there's. I really didn't care as much about the loot. I was cared to see if there's another Crystal Sword in there, so I'd have to adjust how much of a advantage I might have from that. Because Mad Ogres with the Heroine Robe, Samurai Bow, Charm Arrow, Rosa went very well once I found them, and it paying out immediately was where I spent all my good luck in the seed, it seems.
Well, you did have another piece of good luck, at least in comparison to Slippery, is that he didn't check Waterfall during his first examination of the blue planet, so did fade that Wyvern for much longer than you did.
Yeah, also Slippery never checked Eblan, so he never picked up the Rosa. You actually, with that doing your check before you even got the Magma key, Slippery went straight to Baronet and got the Magma key, never even decided to touch Eblan. And that Rosa really, that was the difference maker of the seed, in my opinion. That's where everything kind of turned in your favor, even with all the unfortunate bad luck on the Z fights.
That makes a lot of sense because Rosa carried. All right, Rosa had like one fight where she carried really hard, but it was the fight that got me a Crystal Sword, so that was a really great fight for her to carry hard. Because even at level 10 with a Heroine Emerald and Charm Arrows, she's still one-shotting Mad Ogres. And then, like, Eblan Cave, it was just, oh hey, would you like to have weapons for your melee fighters? Here's a Gungnir Spear, here's a Light Sword, here's Rosa. You have the... that was my Z team until Porm got added as more of a... Right, I should go and have a second source of Berserk because that's kind of handy, and at the end remembering, right, slow's really important too, so Porm, good job with that.
I do have a question for you. When you found the Baron key there at Sheila 2, you reset out of it immediately, decided to make that moon gamble. What was your thought process there?
I'm not going to Baron before I go to the moon. Sure, there's 3 boss spots in Baron. It is a lot of boss spots to check. It's a good place to go and check. I had 1 guaranteed objective on the moon, and then after that objective, I had 5 more boss spots to look at. I was going to go and see what I could find on the moon, and I also had... it feels hard to go and tell the numbers on Baron versus Moon for the Legend Sword, but there's a lot of things up on the moon, and I just wanted to get there, because I also wanted to start getting experience. Really should have spent those 2 Sirens I had, but I didn't feel, without Hourglasses, like taking a Gold Dragon fight and just seeing who survives that. And I didn't really want to go and do 2 egg fights, which probably would have been smart, because that would have probably pushed me over a bit more and got me a bit more levels that would help, but... Once I saw that Aquaman was there and it was double and I had Last Location Darkness, I was a bit apprehensive because Crystal Sword Cecil's great, but Last Locationing is awful, so... I didn't want to go and follow that Baron key with that on my mind as well.
So, yeah, we do know that the Baron key basically led to nothing, too, which I guess at the end of the day was probably good for Slippery. It gave you a Tella and then also gave you a Sand Ruby.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Weird.
As I pointed out, it's like, okay, you dismissed me from Baron Castle. Here, have a Sand Ruby. You can come pick me up anytime. I'm in Kaiko in the bed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that. Oh. I was worried when I saw Telepy. I didn't want to go into a D machine grind, but if you have to, you have to. And him being buried so late, like once you had Darkness and I had a Crystal Sword Cecil, I don't think a D machine grind would really go and help more than the Crystal Sword Cecil, just because sure it's a bunch of experience, but okay, what twice to Z, so maybe that bunch of experience would have been really good. But I figured I'd be able to pick up some on the moon. Didn't expect to go and get 2 for 1 Cave Bahamut, but that's how things go. Part of the reason why I went and grinded on the way in is to just be ready for that.
Yep, and those behemoths really obviously served you well because you were able to get through that Z fight, and I still think you could have wiped a Z a couple more times in the time it would have taken you to get some D machines and get up to that sort of power overwhelming level anyway. So, you know, we did see a lot of our different sorts of grinds. Slippery did take some King Ryus and some doors, so you know, lots of choices here being displayed by you and Slippery. So it's kind of a fun time.
Right, doors. I keep forgetting about them because it's been so long since they've been relevant, because it's either D machine or sirens are freely available, but doors probably would be a good way to just push me over a bit more. Or, you know, popping the 2 sirens I had. But I did think I had enough. No mage gear also kind of hurt. The 1 silent staff switching over to Rosa and then switching a crystal ring to Kane just to push up his speed a bit more, I think was the real 2 things that also helped tip things in my favor at the end. As Kane was just constantly swinging and just constantly getting damage out. Cecil had the big numbers, but Kane was taking like 3 turns to 1 of Cecil sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know if you're anything to explore log, but Slippery showing us on screen Mom Bomb at the Ribbon Room and Legend Sword in the Ribbon Room. So that was your other path to go mode. Slippery was doing it more for the levels at this point, trying to get Z ready. But at least we know where our final thing was, and we'll have to see if Slippery decides to check the forged weapon.
Yeah, Cecil's got 1 really good weapon, which would go and probably make his Z fight a lot easier, and then a few others that are tepid to awful at best. But yeah, that fight, it's real different trading for Zeromus when you actually have to do agility fairly, because mid-40s is perfectly fine at RA1. RA4 with relative agility 5 Cecil, that's a lot less fair. And, you know, our favor. A lot more fair in Zeromus's.
Yeah, Virgil seemed to have our number here. So, on our screen, Slippery, you know, turning in that forge, going to show us what's behind here. Might be interesting to find a piggy sword. You can give it to Kane, but yeah.
Well, Slippery doesn't have the crystal sword, so probably going to keep that piggy sword on that Cecil. Also, that's another one you called today, so.
I called way too many things. I apologize. The harp to tower key was my fault, apparently.
Harp. Okay, not just harp to tower key. Harp from top of tower to tower key to go back to tower, so you can never single dip that place. That's just rude, man. That's just rude.
Yes, I feel very sorry because I did actually call that, and now I feel bad. So.
Well, I'm sure the viewers enjoyed it.
They definitely did. So, Baka, you are through to the round of 32. How are you feeling? You looking forward to your opponent next week? What are your thoughts going further in the tournament?
I hope Eblan keeps going and paying out for me, because crystal swords are really nice. But I should probably stop relying on that if I'm going against Knight 2. I don't know if I can afford to just, yeah, let's go and hit Eblan, and it's a bust, and I've given him a bunch of minutes. That's not something you want to do against Knight 2.
I agree, since, you know, Knight 2 took me out last tournament I was in, so yes, don't give Knight 2 any extra minutes. He will take full advantage of them.
Crystal swords. How can you say no to crystal swords? They're just totally going to be in there, right? Just get, you know, take a few chests. Fine. It's just a few.
You get some experience. Plus, when the seed's going to start you with a Cecil, it owes you a crystal sword, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, GG's once again, Baka. Any final thoughts for us?
Well, this is going to get harder because I picked Knight 2 because I'm incredibly smart. But thank you all for restreaming commentary. Thank you, Ascorian, for going and restreaming, Warlink for going and tracking, and thank you, Gambit and Soft Number, for commentating.
Well, thank you, Baka, for having a great race today. It was a joy and a pleasure to spectate and commentate. So appreciate you and look forward to you racing in a couple weeks here.
Yeah, I get next week off to practice. Otherwise, thank you and have a great day.
Yep, you too, Baka.
You too, Baka.
Slippery getting the good news here of Zeromus, and looks to have a few more levels than Baka did going into this, and so maybe a little bit safer in Zeromus today. But we'll see how this goes. And found that Baka swine, which Yang is going to use to some good effect.
Yeah, so one good thing for Slippery is that starting Cat Claw definitely going to be put to use on that Yang. The only bad thing really right now for him was the fact that it was Mom Bomb in that ribbon room, so you didn't get the full 200k. You only got about 2/3 of it, but still plenty of levels. Yeah, Kane, Cecil, both over 3,000, Yang over 4,000. The twins aren't going to be doing too much, but you would like your White Mage to live through counter nuke, but Virgil says no.
Yeah, the worst counter nuke target is not the best way to start off this fight. Imagine that Slippery will be able to recover here. We'll see, but you know, just not really what you wanted to start out at there. Anybody would be better.
Yeah, but it's going to, instead of trying to bounce a spell with Hallam, it's going to use him to raise his sister up, get the White Mage back up. Definitely the thing you want to do.
Yep, absolutely. Timing that quite well right after the Big Bang will ensure that Porum has a chance to cast some spells before anything else comes out, and looks to be covering quite well.
So far for Slippery, it's just going to be slow and steady. Make sure we keep up with our heals. Or might just be going for damage overwhelming, considering going Berserk Cecil over healing himself.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see here. Yeah, we're just going to take the Big Bang, so I think Kane will probably stand up the White Mage a little bit, maybe. Kind of depending on where oh, I guess Kane's not going to do that.
Oh, Kane unfortunately got high rolled, so it's just Cecil and Yang at this point. But thankfully a black hole does come out, so we've got time to recover, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see. Cecil and Yang are pretty beefy here, so we'll kind of see if we have some time to kind of go around. Probably get a shake here, yep. But yep, Yang gonna nerf with that Thor Rage should help us out here a little bit. Hopefully we can get a that was not the target we were looking for that counter nuke.
Virgil just knows where to hit, doesn't he?
Not being the nicest person to us today, it doesn't look like, and didn't seem like we got that nerf time correctly anyway, so it looks like Slippery's probably going to take another shot at this here and try again.
Yeah, Slippery looking like exiting out, probably going to go do, like, wouldn't be surprised to see him do a door, maybe 2. Or go back into the moon and do another trap chest or something up there as well.
Yeah, lots of options open here. Oh, maybe saw something up here that would help. Oh, who are we gonna go get?
Looks like we're gonna go get Tella. We're gonna get rid of the Quack Kid for Tella to get that second source of healing and Berserk.
Yeah, that's a pretty heads up play. You know, remembering that you could do that, having the Tella kind of sitting here. Yeah, we'll see if this helps. You know, definitely can get some more Zerks up for sure before Zeromus just goes to town on us again. checking our battle speed, getting ready to head back up to Zeromus. Just giving it another go here. Hopefully Virgilmus will be nicer to us this second time around and will let us kind of win here.
I don't think Virgilus will let us win, but hopefully Slippery's going to be in a lot better position at this point to take on Virgilus.
Absolutely.
In the meantime, while Slippery is re-entering into the Zeromus fight, just a reminder, there is one more restreamed race later on this evening, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Free Enterprise channel. You're going to have Keyword versus Prof. Corey. You'll have the wonderful Leggy Starscream and Sorbius on commentary for that. So definitely come back later tonight for some more fun Free Enterprise action.
Yeah, all of our races today have been really great, and I cannot imagine that the one tonight is going to be any less great than we've seen here or saw earlier today. I encourage everybody, if you weren't able to see the previous ones as well, you can always check out. They end up on our, they end up in the VODs and can be viewed after the fact.
In the meantime, Slippery throws the crystal once more. Virgilus comes out from hiding, and here we go for round 2.
The face of true evil is revealed, and it is Virgil. Looks like our white mage is going to pop a Star Veil this time to prevent some counter nuke shenanigans, so that should definitely help us here.
Yep. Hopefully we can get the slow out in time. Tella is not the fastest of casters.
Yeah, and Tella does have a tendency to miss sometimes too. But it looks like we're gonna get that out. Counter nuke goes onto Yang. Not really a fine target for us. Any of the targets at this point would have been great.
Yeah, you would like to see him target Forum just because of the bounce of the fail, but Yang getting hit there, not a bad thing. Tella goes down to the Big Bang because
Tella wasn't really ever going to survive that Big Bang, though. So, bouncing a slow to slow down Virgilmus some more, and we should see our big Zerky boys here hopefully get Virgil down.
taking advantage again of that wall bouncing a second slow, definitely going to help in this situation. And you've got, between Cecil and Yang, you're doing almost 6k around. And you've got Kane jumping as well for quite a bit of damage.
Yep, we'll have to see how the refills and the shakes go, but looking pretty positive at this point in the fight. So hopefully Virgilmus will continue to be somewhat kind.
I like what Slippery is doing here. Knew for a fact was not going to be able to tip. Cecil is not actually Zerk. Cecil is still under male control. So waited with the cane, didn't try to jump immediately, used the life pot immediately upon the Big Bang coming out because he knew that Forum would not survive. That way she gets up immediately, she can heal immediately. Here's the black hole, so let's go ahead and get a Cure 4 out and we're good to go and keep on trucking.
Yep, absolutely. Heads up play, heads up timing. The things that our runners know about the scripts in the Z fight are always fascinating, and the way that they can at these levels make Zeromus sing their tune is a sight to behold, no matter how you're fighting it.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt when Cecil, not Zerk, just attacking regularly is still doing almost 4k damage. So
Yep, doesn't seem to be, just kind of taking it slow and taking it cautious here, making sure that we get our cures off, and we even were able to stand Tella back up. Tella maybe throw out some Zerks here.
Well, Tella got up, said hey, and was about to go back down with a big bang, unfortunately. But still.
It's a thought that counts. We're always thinking of our more elderly gentlemen, so standing that, pour him back up again, while, Yang and Kane are able to put the hurt onto Zeromus here.
It's a very slow, steady, technical Z fight, and being done very, very well by Slippery at this point.
Yeah, it seems to be the proper way to tackle this at this point. Just kind of make sure that you're getting your heals and your lives out so that, you're continuing to pump that damage across, and eventually you'll kind of reach that finish line.
Yeah, I think the hope here is for Tella to survive long enough to get a Berserk out, but might end up having just to res the Kane instead for Tella.
Absolutely, and wonder if we're in rocks here. That was an interesting pause, so we'll have to see.
I don't think we're quite in the rocks, but we might be. So there goes the Berserk out on Cecil. We're going to get him swinging for full damage. Wouldn't be surprised to see Cecil put up like 6k here in a second.
Yep, not quite there. We got another shake, but maybe it doesn't look like it's going to be too much of a problem here for Slippery.
Yeah, the Cure 2 from Tella onto Kane, that'll bring him back up. Even a Big Bang isn't going to take him down, so he should be able to get in the air. This plate's probably academic for Slippery. I don't see any, barring anything catastrophic, like a catastrophe happening, he should be able to get this.
Yep, that was even a really pretty high Big Bang and still didn't really drop anybody we weren't expecting to drop at that point. So just a slight, unfortunately timed Cure 4 there was probably the only kind of minor slip up, but still kind of pouring out that damage. And yeah, Cecil and Yang and Kane really kind of pouring the damage onto Zeromus here.
Now I wouldn't be surprised if we completely skip rock altogether.
Certainly would be interesting. We had another shake, so but we did get the Cure 4 off again before that, so even if we come out here, it's not gonna end our life. And there are rocks, so good, and pretty good dodge luck. Porum did dodge for us.
Porum dodges, everybody else has plenty of HP to survive, and I don't think we see others in the rocks. I think this one is pretty well in the bag. Yep, there's the flash.
And that is GG's for Slippery for an official race time of 1:57.08. GG Slippery. Slippery, can't quite hear you, so maybe push to talk or mute it. I hear you now. How's it going? GG's.
Look, I'm not able to hear anybody. Let me mess with my settings right quick.
Absolutely. So we'll give you a second to do that while we watch Zeromus here disappear off of our screen. Slippery, are you able to hear us now? Sounds
I'm
like
not hearing anybody, unfortunately.
Yeah, sounds like we're still having some technical problems on Slippery's side. So we'll try and solve that while...
There we go. I got it. I'm fixed.
Excellent! GG, Slippery.
Thank you.
So, how did you find the seed overall? What was some of the more interesting parts?
Mount Ordeals for sure, because that was, as Baka said in the chat, just a giant neon sign saying, yeah, your path, you have another path to the underground. So I was kind of banking on maybe him going to down like a pretty tough hook route, which I think I ended up seeing was a sparkle of some sort in the Rubicante spot. And it turns out like a lot of good things were along the hook route, so that kind of bit me in the long term. But overall, apart from the grind toward the end, I think that was a pretty smooth seed.
Yeah, I would agree. It was a pretty straightforward, pretty smooth seed. It didn't provide the greatest grind options, so we saw you do a door, we saw you do some King Ryus. Baka decided to do some Behemoths, so, but always kind of good to see that variety. And to your point, there was a Rosa down that hook route that you faded, but kind of big neon sign saying Magma Key was probably at Baron, and that was a good play.
Yeah, and regarding grinding, like, yeah, that's the thing I've really been having trouble wrapping my head around in this flag set. With very limited sirens and the giant options being half as efficient as usual, figuring out like how to time it and when to go. I ended up doing LS chess and lunar subterrane, hoping I could get like a high tier weapon for Cecil, but no luck. So I figured I'd light up that 5th objective.
I know our tracker probably appreciates it, gives him an extra button to press.
Yeah, absolutely. And that piggy sword wasn't too bad. There was a crystal sword in one of the trap chests in Eblan Castle that did kind of power Bakashinobi's way through the seed. So, but yeah. So when you found the Wyvern at Waterfall, what through your mind?
Well, I mean, basically, like, there's one of my boss hunts done. That's about it. I wasn't expecting 2 objectives to be in Cave Value, but I mean, I guess the seed had to mean for us. I was really hoping for Forge to actually be required, since that would be a little quicker, but no dice.
I have a question for you. When you got that Baron key from Sheila 2, you just got Darkness from Rat Tail as well. What made you decide to do Baron first versus just going on up to the moon?
I mean, mostly I figured Baka is a bit stronger of a runner than I am, so I kind of figured I'd go for the non-obvious play and kind of take a gamble.
I was talking on the stream. I in your situation, I would have done the exact same thing, thinking if I'm behind, let me check this bear and see if it's got Legend Sword Octomam. Unfortunately, today it didn't pan out, but it was a very heads-up play.
Yeah, and there were also 2 unknown bosses there, so I figured I should hopefully get something out of it. But unfortunately, Rando's gonna Rando.
Yeah, what you ended up getting was the Tella. And then when you dismissed him, he gave you a sand ruby saying, "Hey, by the way, I'm over here in Kaipo if you need me anymore."
Yeah, we had quite a chuckle at the trash can down there in Baron, but yeah, I mean it was a great straightforward seed. I think as you said, I think you did really, really well, and it was a joy to watch both runners wind their way through the seed and. Just a couple little things that changed the routing that decided this. So, it was very, very close. You guys entered Mount Ordeals at the same time. I believe, a couple other checks you were really, really synced. So, good GGs.
And if anybody wants to see a close one between us, the game I sniped off of Baka, the game 2 was decided by less than a minute. So. That's one to see.
Also, for you've been around the community for a while. You've been in a couple different tournaments and a couple different bracket stages, so you are not a bad runner yourself. So see you take one from Baka was not surprising at all, and keeping this one close as well. So GGC. You have any final thoughts on the tournament as a whole, or anything you want to say since you are unfortunately going to be going home and not moving on?
The typical best of luck to Baka in the future rounds. Thanks to the production team for putting this on, and Yeah, that'll do it. It's a very exciting tournament flag set. You know, like I say, I have a lot of trouble wrapping my head around grinding, and I think a lot of players do, and that makes for a lot more exciting Z fights where wipes are far more probable, and those are always fun to watch.
Yeah, it was a great show that everybody put on today, and we really appreciate both of our runners being on stream and putting on a great show. So, thank you.
Yeah, anytime.
I'm going to remind everybody that we do have, one more time, remind everybody that we have a great race lined up for you, 8:30 Eastern time tonight, right here on Free Enterprise. But right now, we're going to take everybody over to X Pancraz, who is running a ladder race. And I would like to remind everybody that of ladder race etiquette, that you please don't spoil the results of today's race, and also please don't provide any hints or any comments on the run that Pancraz is doing.
Yes, but thank you so much for being here with us today. For our restreamer Ascarian, for our tracker Warlink, for my co-commentator Softdome, I have been Gameit017. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We appreciate every one of you guys coming in, watching all the races that we put on for this wonderful tournament, for this wonderful game. And we will see you back here in about 3 hours for the nightcap of Saturday.
Yep, thank you everybody, and see you around.